Hey guys, welcome back to another edition of StarCraft 2 Team Strategy. So what we're going to be looking at today is proxies and how to basically scout and stop them. Scouting is key in this case because you have to see it coming in order to really stop this one. This isn't one of those strategies where it's an early pull and you be like, oh, well, I'll just put up a spine crawler, I'll have enough lings, or something will work out. Because the proxies, since they're all the way across the map, and oftentimes, like this Protoss for instance, he only has 10 workers, as you can see right there. So he's going to get these zealots out as quickly as possible, and if I do a 14 pull and we have another Zerg on the map, he's going to have lings out as well. So I'm basically making a 14 pull to make sure that I can stay even with him, even if he does an early pull, and I'm not even considering the fact that there could be zealots. So by the time his lings get across the map, he might have 8 or so lings from his 10 pull. This guy's going to have about 4 zealots out in that time. So unless if I would say probably 2 spine crawlers is what you're really going to need to defend that. There's no way I'm going to be able to stop this. So my partner gets down here, and he tells me, hey, something's going on. Now, my partner scouted a little bit late here, and it's also a good idea to have 2 people scout on your team, because if, for instance, that we have only 1 person scouting, you can see he's only seen 1 player at this point in the game. These 2 gateways are already up. So for all we know, this Protoss could have just cannon rushed. He could have cannons up here and then be walking his way over here. And that takes a different reaction than a proxy does. And what happened if, for instance, our Terran player who did scout the Zerg base first? Well, he sees a 10 pull. That's nothing out of the ordinary. So there's no different reaction for me than just a normal standard game. So if we had 2 people scout at this point, we would have seen, oh hey, there's a proxy and there's an early pull. So I would have been able to put up 2 spine crawlers at about 3:30, maybe even a little bit before that. Because as soon as I get out here, I'm like, oh crap, he's got a proxy. Well, you go back to my base, spine crawlers, this thing isn't going to get done in time. They're already in my base. And 2 spine crawlers is the correct reaction here, but it's just far too late in the game for me to be able to hold off aggression, because these spine crawlers need to be up as soon as the units get into my base. So maybe it was partially, my slow reaction time, but also the fact that we didn't scout soon enough to diagnose this right away. Because scouting proxies is the most important part of stopping them. Because if you're like, oh hey, it's 3 minutes in the game, you tell your partners, oh there's a proxy by the way, well that's a little bit late because the gateways are already up and they're going to have units out. So that's all I really wanted to show you guys from this game. I'm going to get into the next one in a little bit. There's 2 more games I wanted to show you. One's going to be how to stop it, and another one's going to be kind of another mistake, just like in this game. Hey guys, welcome back to game 2. Going to be looking at proxies once again. In this case we have 4 Protoss on the other team, and they all do 2 gate opening, where they proxy it all right in here. We don't even notice it right away. But in this case, we did scout in time, and we're going to be able to stop it, or at least delay it a little bit, and give our partners time to get tech units out to do some counterattacks. So if you're a Protoss player, especially in 3v3 and 4v4, you have to expect that, at least 1 person on the other team is going to do some kind of cheese. So really what you need to be doing is scouting as soon as possible. And right here and now, just after scouting the first person at about 1:30 to 1:40 in the game, I noticed instantly, hey, it's either a proxy or a cannon rush. And I'm telling my partners on Skype a while. Now, it's pretty typical for 1 person to do that, but as soon as I get over here and I notice that both players don't have any pylons in their base, I know something's up right here. I know this is some kind of early all-in that they're doing. So, one thing you want to do is obviously check your base for cannons, but the second thing is check, local Zelnaga towers and whatnot, and get complete walls. That's what's really going to buy you time so that your team can react. As Terran players, you should get a bunker up right away. If you're a Protoss, you should go gate forge opening, or even forge first if you scout in time. In this case, I ended up trying to get a cyber core because I had a Terran partner and I thought we'd be able to hold, but with all the zealots that they get out this early in the game, there's just no way. Because you can look at all of their Protoss on their team, and they don't even have that many workers yet, because they got 2 gateways as quickly as possible. Now, if my partner had built a depot right here, like I asked him to, we probably could have bought a little more time, maybe even held this off, who knows. But in this case, we are unable to, and shortly thereafter, both my ally and I will decide we'll perish. But it's not a game over yet. We did buy a little bit of time. So I ended up feeding basically my teammates to try and get them to get tech a little bit quicker. Good follow-ups you can do is drops and banshees. Even doing drops, banshees, DTs, basically anything that can counterattack where like one of these players is not going to have defense at own. Even Void Rays would be a really strong follow-up here, because if you have two Stargates with Void Rays out, you'll probably have 3 Void Rays out before they really have any Stalkers build up. And if you're able to do that, it's going to take a lot of time. It's going to take at least 6, maybe even 7 or 8 Stalkers to be able to stop 3 Void Rays if they're microed properly. And if they get charged up, they're probably going to lose at least 1 base. So as soon as we get DTs out, we're able to take out this player and also do a little bit of damage to 2 of the other players in the game and kind of slow them up a little bit. And all their players end up getting Cybernetics Core, Warp Gate, and try to get either Blink or 3-gate Robo or a whole bunch of stuff like this. Although, frankly, all of them should have had a Forge if they couldn't get a Robo out in time, because the DTs are going to hit before they have detection. As you can see right now, I believe he is the quickest Robo of anybody in this game. Oh, well, he's got one, but he didn't start getting his Observer right away. But either way, we're still able to do a lot of damage right here. 4 kills. Another 4 there. And each of these is probably going to get a couple more kills. And of course, he sends his first Observer out to try and go help his partners out. Oh, and we got another DT there that's doing some damage as well. So you can see that we're not as far behind as it may seem. And another thing you can do is players end up losing their base, just have them do drops or control DTs or do stuff like that, because they don't have anything else to do anyways, and they're going to be able to micro it a lot better than you will. And that way you'll be able to focus on your macro and making sure that you can, try and expand if possible, or at the very least keep your money as low as possible so you can try and counterattack. Fortunately, we weren't able to kill his base, but at this point in the game, we're just buying a little time until we have enough units to counterattack and take 1 or 2 or more of them out. Because Teal here is going to lose his main, so he's out of the game. And then, quite frankly, both purple, red, and blue all took a few worker losses, so they're either behind an economy or they're behind an army size at this point. So really, my partner and I are pretty much even at this point, despite it being 2 against 4. Now, another player of ours ended up surviving because he had a command center he could lift off. But even if this wasn't the case, it probably wouldn't have mattered and we probably still would have been able to win anyways. So hopefully you guys can see that scouting early is really the key to stopping proxies. And in the third game I'm going to show you a build that you can do as a Terran player that's a really strong early game against this kind of pressure. And it'll also help out teams that have, say, a Zerg player where they can't make a wall. So keep watching, guys, and I'll have the next game load up in just a sec.